5 months. That's how long Arc Raiders players waited for a new map. 5 months of the same 3 locations. 5 months of the same rotations, the same sightlines, the same routes you've run so many times you could do them with your eyes closed. And the whole time, Embark kept saying, "Hold on, it's coming. Riven Tides is coming." It came out yesterday, and the community's reaction wasn't excitement. It was silence. The kind of silence that comes right after you realize something you were really looking forward to just didn't land. Hello, I'm Particle. Let's talk about what Riven Tides actually delivered, and why the update that was supposed to save Arc Raiders might have made things worse. And if this kind of breakdown is what you're here for, a like and a subscribe goes a long way. It's genuinely what keeps this channel going. Now, let's get into it.
To understand why the reaction to Riven Tides hit so hard, you need to understand what 5 months without a new map actually feels like in an extraction shooter. This genre lives and dies on map knowledge. The moment you stop discovering new things, new angles, new routes, new encounters, the loop starts to feel mechanical. You're not exploring anymore, you're executing. And executing the same raid for the 100th time in the same locations stops feeling like a game and starts feeling like a job. Embark knew this. The escalation roadmap that launched in January was built around a clear promise: 4 major updates across 4 months, culminating in Riven Tides, the grand finale. A brand new map, a new large arc enemy, the biggest content drop since launch. That was the pitch. Players held on through headwinds in January, shrouded sky in February, and Flashpoint in March, each time telling themselves that Riven Tides would make the wait worth it. That kind of accumulated anticipation is a double-edged sword. It keeps players engaged through dry spells, but it also means that when the payoff arrives, the bar is set impossibly high, and Riven Tides walked straight into that bar.
Let's be fair and start with what works. The map itself, the actual physical space of Riven Tides, is genuinely beautiful. The coastal setting, the abandoned hotel, the ambient atmosphere of Ark creeping through sun-bleached corridors. Players who spent time in the hotel area came away genuinely impressed. Visually, Embark delivered something that feels distinct from anything else in the game. 2 events launched alongside the map: the Last Resort event and the Miniature Voyages track, giving players something to work toward immediately. The new quest lines are solid. The addition of a new SMG through quest completion is a welcome reward structure. On paper, the content list looks substantial, but paper and reality diverged quickly once players actually got in. The beachcombing map condition, Riven Tide's signature mechanic, is the most talked about disappointment. The concept is straightforward: find a metal detector, comb the beach, dig up buried treasure. Except the execution strips the risk-reward loop that makes extraction shooters compelling. There are virtually no arc threats in the beach areas. In friendly lobbies, there's nothing to worry about at all. And after digging up 15 treasures in a session, a typical player walked away with 5 mines, 2 ticks, 3 pieces of fruit, some ammo, and 1 weapon cache. The juice, as one reviewer put it, genuinely isn't worth the squeeze. You're better off spending that time looting the hotel. Then there's the new large arc, the Turbine. This was new content disappointing is one thing, but Riven Tides also arrived with changes to existing systems that immediately divided the community, and not in a healthy way. The weapon durability rework is the flashpoint. Higher rarity weapons now degrade faster and cost more to maintain, which Embark framed as a way to make durability a more meaningful stat. The community framed it differently. For PvP players especially, the math became brutal. Lose a raid and lose your gun's condition. Win a raid and spend your earnings repairing it. The loop that once rewarded skilled play now punishes it, almost regardless of outcome. The photoelectric cloak nerf landed even harder. The cloak's effectiveness was cut by roughly 75%, a change so severe that it effectively removed the item from competitive consideration. Before Riven Tides, the cloak had become more useful than ever following recent updates. The timing of its near deletion, right at the peak of its relevance, felt like a solution to a problem that didn't exist yet.
Simply increasing its energy cost would have addressed overperformance without gutting the option entirely. And then there's the crossplay situation. Within hours of Riven Tides going live, it became clear that the update had broken crossplay functionality entirely. Embark acknowledged the issue and said a fix was in progress.
Here's the part of this story that goes beyond patch notes and player counts. Riven Tides wasn't just another update. It was the end of the escalation roadmap, the official closing chapter of Arc Raiders' first major content cycle. April 28 also marks the point where Embark's published roadmap ends. There is no announced content plan for the rest of 2026. The studio has said it intends to support the game for up to a decade, and a new roadmap is expected in the coming weeks. But right now, on the day after the biggest update of the year landed with a thud, players are staring into an open calendar with no dates on it. That uncertainty is dangerous for a live service game that's already been fighting to hold its audience. The player count spike that came with Riven Tides was real. The game hit over 91,000 concurrent players on Steam on launch day, its highest number in months. Those are players who came back specifically for this update. What happens when they discover the beachcombing mechanic is underwhelming? The new boss barely spawns. The cloak they relied on is functionally gone, and crossplay is broken? They leave again. And the next time Embark asks them to come back, the ask will be harder to answer. The Helldivers 2 comparison is already circulating in the community, and it's not a comfortable one. That game's post-launch stumble came from a combination of controversial balance changes and content that didn't match community expectations, and it took months to stabilize. Arc Raiders is a younger game with a smaller player base, operating in a more competitive genre. It has less runway for mistakes. Embark is not a studio that ignores its community. The history of Arc Raiders since launch is full of examples of the developer reading feedback and adjusting course, sometimes faster than players expected. The crossplay fix is already in progress. The weapon durability and cloak changes are exactly the kind of systemic tweaks that get revisited when the data shows players pushing back. And the map itself, underneath the disappointing beachcombing condition and the absent boss, is genuinely good. If Riven Tides gains support for additional map conditions, like electromagnetic storm, hurricane, or matriarch events, it has the foundation to become one of the game's best locations. The hotel alone justifies that optimism. But optimism doesn't retain players in the short term. Content does. And right now, Arc Raiders is heading into an undisclosed content period with its most anticipated update generating more frustration than excitement. Its roadmap blank past today, and a community that came back hoping to be convinced and left with more questions than answers.
So, did Riven Tides save Arc Raiders? No, not yet, and not like this. The map is beautiful, the events are functional, and Embark's long-term commitment to the game is real. But a beautiful map with a broken mechanic, an invisible boss, nerfs that punished the wrong things, and a crossplay bug on launch day is not the moment this game needed. The players who came back yesterday deserved better. And the players who are still deciding whether Arc Raiders is worth their time, they're watching how Embark responds to this. That response, more than the update itself, is what actually determines whether this game has a future worth believing in. What do you think? Did Riven Tides meet your expectations? Or did Embark miss the mark on the one update they couldn't afford to get wrong? Drop it in the comments. I read everything. Leave a like and subscribe if this kind of breakdown is what you're here for. And don't forget, I'm Particle.